Good evening. We have a quorum, folks. And it probably won't snow this evening, so we're pretty safe. Okay, everybody here?
Is that all right? If I stand up here? I can't stand it from here. Oh, this time.
Okay, we rise up, please, flag. Let me do this. And you'll see. All right, I'm going to read the names of those town meeting members who passed in the last year. Philip Dumas, Robert Benoit, William Westerland, Patricia Wondolowski, and William Standring. It's not on? Oh, okay, you mean, oh. Okay, I guess, yeah, I might. All right, okay. Now, I want to make an announcement too. I have appointed Doreen Goodrich Assistant Moderator. So that's taken care of. And, okay, there's a small problem evidently with the clickers and we want to do something. Okay, we want to test them now? So the question will be, will the Celtics and Bruins both win this year? That's the question. To it is, if it's a question, answer yes or no. Should this be on? Oh. Oh, okay, so it doesn't matter. Well, you know something, I can't see a soul. We need better lights. Okay, is this something you want to do? Are we doing anything with this? Yeah.
You're good.
So the clickers are slow. So when you go to put your answers up, if you don't see it come up right away, don't keep hitting the button because that delays everything for us even longer. So just hit it once or twice and then just give it a few minutes. If it doesn't work, then look at your screen, see if it's on, if it says the letter or the answer that you had pressed. If it doesn't, then you can go ahead and press it again. Okay? I'm gonna be watching the numbers. I know how many people have showed up, so I'm gonna watch the numbers till I shut the light off, okay?
Okay, and I don't know where he is, but I need lights. I can't basically see any, I can see sort of people, but I won't see hands up. So could we have lights on in the auditorium, please? Well, that's good. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think a little bit, even a little more in the auditorium, I think. No, up. Yeah, I guess if it's as good as I can get, I mean, not great, is it?
Can you guys see the screen?
The spotlight needs to go off. The spotlight.
Yeah,
What do you want me to ask him?
can we turn the spotlights down on us?
Sit down, sit down, those lights.
Is that better for you guys?
They're gonna take the spotlight.
And could I have a little more light, please, in the auditorium? I've got to be able to see hands up.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, no.
Ooh,
The other one's.
no. That's as good as it's gonna get, okay. Okay, so Article 1. To hear the reports of the Finance Committee, other town officials and committees, or act on anything relative thereto. Finance Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Kevin Kennedy, Chair of the Finance Committee. The Auburn Finance Committee makes the following recommendations on the annual town meeting warrant articles. Articles 2 through 12, the Finance Committee voted to recommend approval of these articles. On Articles 13 through 19, the Finance Committee voted to recommend approval of these articles. On Articles 20 through 22, the Finance Committee voted to defer to the petitioner on those articles. Signed, the Auburn Finance Committee, Kevin Kennedy, Chair, Michael Marshall, Vice Chair, Ed Coleman, Patrick Jones, Trevor Sansucci, Stephen Consiglio, and George Graham. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Article 2, please.
No, Charlie. Select board's gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. Oh, thank you, Dan.
Good evening. The Select Board makes the following recommendations on the annual town meeting warrants. On Articles 2 through 12, the Select Board recommends approval. Articles 13 through 19, we also recommend these articles. Articles 20 through 22, we defer to the petitioner. Respectfully, Sarah Ruffley, Chair, Dan Carpenter, Steve Chambers, Ann Kavanaugh, and Todd Corain, members.
Thank you. Are there any other committee reports? Seeing none. We now go to Article 2. Doreen?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 2. I move that the town meeting vote to fix the salary and compensation of elected town officers for fiscal year 2025 as follows. Town moderator, $296. Selectman chairman, $1,740. The selectman for remaining, $6,097. And the town clerk, $79,598.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion, please signify by. Aye. Okay? Do whatever you have to with the clicker. Okay, we can see it. What's on? Okay, and the vote, I can't see it. 78 to 14? Okay. It passed 78 to 4. All right, thank you. Because I can't see that. No, I don't think so. All right, Article 3, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 3, I move that the town meeting raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide for and appropriate to town debts and charges for the ensuing year the several sums of money in the proposed budget as stated in the recommendation of finance columns on pages 18 through 63, inclusive of the Town of Auburn fiscal year 2025 budget and annual town meeting warrant, totaling $78,194,704, and to raise said sum by transferring from available funds $15,000 from cemetery lots and graves, $50,000 from pension reserve, $19,079 from wetlands funds, $30,000 reserve for appropriation dog licenses, $4,086.31 from MEMA Snow, $50,000 reserve for appropriation Casella host agreement, $1,585,000 from reserve for appropriation ambulance, $30,000 from overflow trash bags, $49,994.36 from high school, middle school debt reserve, $79,500 from premiums on bond bands 26135, $20,000 from perpetual care, $7,358.03 state primary election, and by raising and appropriating or otherwise providing for the balance of said funds, each total amount as printed in the recommendation Finance Committee column of the 2024-2025 budget to be considered and specified department appropriation. And further, that the Finance Committee is authorized to transfer between the individual accounts which total any specific appropriation when requested by a department and the committee feels such transfer is in the best interest of the town.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Kazanovich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Can everyone hear me? I'd like to welcome all of our town meeting members this evening. Thank you for showing up on time. I know we're up against the Celtics tonight, so I'm going to try to be brief. I have a presentation as it relates to all of the articles that are presented in your warrant tonight.
Excuse me, we need a second for that motion, by the way. Is somebody, there are many seconds out there. I get, it's so dark out there, I guess you have to stand up. You got it, okay. Or if you've got a question, because frankly, you're in the dark. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Moderator, we're ready to go? Okay, so the budget presentation to you tonight makes a recommendation as approved by the Finance Committee of total appropriations of $82,426,813 and change. We roughly have an equal amount, and I'll get into the categories as we get a little deeper into the presentation. Total revenue of $82,426,937, leaving an excess of $124.46. This presentation to you tonight utilizes about 100% of Prop 2.5, and would result in excess levy, roughly what we have in the current fiscal year FY24 of $9,292,931. As we look at our revenue and expense categories, our local receipts, we are estimating about $823,038 above current year. That's a 7.60%. Our cherry sheet revenues, this is a state aid we received from the Commonwealth of Mass, is only up $166,000. And that's why we're utilizing more of local receipts, because as you're going to see, our 5-year average for state aid is just shy of $1 million. We're only getting $166,000. Our tax levy is up $2,068,239, roughly 4.66%. Our debt exclusions is down $1.272 million as a result of us retiring our high school debt next month. So if we can have a big hand for that, that's been a 20-year purpose, and we're finally retiring that. And our available funds are down. This is primarily our fall use of free cash, roughly $1.6 million, or down 43.5%. Once again, our total revenue of $82,426,937.89 is up $172,000, almost $173,000 over current year. That's an increase of 0.22%, less than 0.25%, as well as our appropriations. Now, when we look at the components, our revenue, our tax levy revenue, we are estimating taxing at a level of $47,504,859. Once again, that utilizes 100% of 2.5. That's $1,368,239. We're estimating new growth, and this is where we normally are conservative at this point at the annual town meeting. We normally estimate 500. We're estimating $700,000 at this time to balance the budget. Our 5-year average of new growth is 761,000. And the FY25 budget raises an additional 1.45 million, specifically for the Auburn Middle School, no longer the high school. Once again, we're retiring the high school debt in June of '24. As we look at our new growth for tax levy, our 5-year average is 761,000. We've been as high over the last 5 years of 931. We are going to recognize some significant growth that I believe will put us above 700 because of the new construction on the 40B project at Eastland Partners on the west side of town. We don't know what that value will be until September of '24. Continuing on with our tax levy revenue, the recommendation would tax at a rate of 83.64% of our total taxable levy. That would leave excess levy of roughly 9.3 million, and that would mean that we're not taxing roughly 16.36% of our total levy. If you look at our excess levy over the past 12 years, you can see it's been on a constant increase. This is a reflection of the town not taxing at 2.5. But if you look at the top two lines, this is indicative of taxing at 2.5 because the excess levy remains the same. Looking at our cherry sheet revenue for FY25, we're estimating just under $18 million. This currently uses the governor's proposed state aid. That state aid is up 166,000 over current fiscal year. That's just under 1%. The 8-year average of state aid is $942,690. So as you can see, as a result of not getting close to our 5-year average, there's a greater dependency to tax and raise revenue through other sources, just to maintain services here in town. The increase in unrestricted local aid as it relates to the 166,000 is 61,420. Our increase in Chapter 70 for next year is standing at $71,010. And the House Ways and Means, which was recently released, would result in a greater revenue, state revenue, above and beyond the governor's numbers of just under 200,000. But it's too early to commit that. Certainly the Senate numbers are still due to come out, and we'll make a recommendation in the fall town meeting once those final numbers are known. When we look at our 8-year average of cherry sheet state aid, as you can see, the level of increase in the yellow boxes represents the annual increase over the prior fiscal year. The numbers in black equate to the value of that percentage increase. And as you can see in FY25, just under 1% or $166,000. When we look at our assessments as it has been estimated by the governor's numbers, we have a total decrease over current fiscal year of roughly $26,000 or 4.04%. And the primary reason for the increase is a reduction in school choice spending tuition account as part of those assessments. Looking at our available funds, we're estimating 2.92 million, primarily made up of ambulance proceeds of just under $2 million to offset the fire department operating budget as well as the capital budget for the purchase of an ambulance. Our SOAR retained earnings amounts to $314,000 to offset our capital needs, as well as ACTV retained earnings. That's an enterprise account of $40,000 as an offset to the capital. Our debt exclusion offset, this is an amount of money that is set in a reserve account because we borrowed money and we we're allowed to use an offset over the life of the bond issue. That amount is $49,994. We're using the balance in our reserve bond proceeds account of $73,500 for an outside article that you'll be requested to approve tonight. And we're using as a one-time down payment, $200,000 out of our stabilization account for the purchase of a fire tanker truck that's in the capital program. When we look at our final revenue, local receipts, we're estimating and recommending $12,538,731. That's about an $823,000 increase over current fiscal year, or a 7.02% increase. It increases our hotel motel. Let me back up. It increases our motor vehicle excise by $160,500. It also increases our hotel motel based upon prior actuals. It increases that by $100,000 and increases our meals by $50,000. Our trash fees, which we increased in the current fiscal year that we're in, there was a 6-month adjustment. That increase took place in January. When you annualize that over next fiscal year, it's about a $99,000 increase. We're also estimating we had a fantastic return on our investments in FY24. The rate of increase is still giving us a decent amount of return. The interest rates are significantly higher. We're estimating about $306,000 increase. All other local receipts have been level funded based upon prior actuals. And our amended estimates, once again, will be amended once we have a handle on our year-end actuals, which will be known shortly after June 30th. In summary, when you look at all those funding sources, we have revenue of $82,426,938. The lion's share of that is funded through tax levy, 57.63%. Our cherry sheet state aid, roughly about 22%. Local receipts, 15.25%. Available funds, about 3.5%, and our debt exclusion, about 1.3%. In summary, total revenue of $82,426,938, up $172,982 over current fiscal year, or 0.22%. As we look at the appropriations, I'm just going to refer to page 4 and 5 of your warrant. I'm not going to go over this because it has been provided to you, but this basically highlights what's in your warrant book on pages 4 and 5. If we went to the slides. If I could highlight some of the FY25 budget expenditures, I would like to say that the recommendation covers all of our wage obligations as specified under our current collective bargaining agreements. It adjusts fixed costs resulting from economic fluctuations that we're all recognizing in some of our fixed costs. Our budget recommends the following positions. 1 full-time fire training lieutenant, emphasis that is funded 100% by ambulance receipts. We made a recommendation to fund a police department lieutenant's position with a start date of 4/1/2025. That's 1 quarter of fiscal year, beginning next year. We had to eliminate an HR generalist to save some positions that were of higher priority. This was a vacant position. And with discussions with the school superintendent, all depending on the outcome of state aid and other factors that have to do with budgetary matters, there may be a suggestion not to fill 2 positions that are slated for retirement in the school operating budget. Our employee health increases is increased by $300,000. We are utilizing the equity in our self-insured trust, which roughly has a balance of $12 million. as a mechanism to minimize the rate of increase and save the town and our employees some savings. It increases our Worcester Regional Retirement Assessment by $412,000. That is an actual number. That's an increase of 8.70%. And also takes advantage of a one-time $90,000 discount by paying that on or before July 1st. So we're taking advantage of that option. It increases our Medicare obligation of 1.45% to meet all of our contractual and wage obligations. It meets all of our long-term debt and interest costs, as specified in our borrowing. This budget does assume a long-term borrowing that will take place in August of 2024. That will result in a one-time interest payment at the 6-month mark as a result of that borrowing in FY25. It does provide costs associated with our debt exclusion of $1.45 million. And once again, it retires with the recognition of retiring our high school debt. This budget meets our Bay Path assessment. We've had an increase of 14 students, resulting in a increase of $225,322 or 14.95%. I can tell you that their assessment also is estimated based on the governor's state aid numbers. So that could fluctuate all depending on the final outcome of that. It increases our fuel cost by an estimated $3.30 per gallon cost. That was measured as of January of 2024. And there is no current request for stabilization OPEB. We typically do that in the fall. It may utilize a portion of our certified free cash to make that request. On the expense side, it uses the charges and assessments as estimated by the governor's budget. This budget, once again, uses and applies our adopted financial policies. And the budget includes a capital improvement plan within your warrant totaling $3.866 million. It's going to rely on a borrowing of $1.321 million to fund our capital needs in FY25. We did reprogram our sidewalk and pedestrian safety operating budget line item. We programmed that into the capital for reasons that we're able to carry that over if it's not expended by June 30th. So there's an advantage by having it in the capital versus the operating. In summary, when we look at Article 4, our capital budget is being funded by the following. Tax levy, $1,561,000. SOAR retained earnings of $314,000. Ambulance proceeds of $400,000. One-time use of stabilization of $200,000. Cable access retained earnings of $40,000. CIP trust of $30,000 and bond proceeds of $1,321,000, giving us a total ask of $3,866,427. I believe this is part of your warrant as well. I'm going to just touch upon some of the larger expense items that represent our total cost. Education represents roughly $33.4 million or 40.51%. Our employee benefits make up about $14.6 million or just under 18%. Public safety, which includes police, fire, $11,159,000 or 13.54%, followed by some of the other smaller ones that are identified up on the screen before you. Once again, total appropriations, $82,426,813. Summarizing our total appropriations of $82,426,813, up $172,982. Once again, the same percentage of revenue increase over current fiscal year of 0.22%. Finally, in summary, we have appropriations equal to that of revenue with a balance of $125 of unused levy. Once again, this utilizes all of 2.5 of $1,368,239. With that, Mr. Moderator, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, thank you, Ed. Superintendent Carpenter, please.
Okay. This side one? Okay. No, this is fine. Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. I want to begin by saying how proud I am to be here this evening as superintendent of your school department. Auburn has been a great place for me to work, for our staff to work, and for our kids to learn, and that's in large part due to the support that we have consistently received from town leadership and from all of you. So thank you for that. Tonight, I'll share with you a bit about our vision and hopes for the FY25 school year and what this vision, the impact that this vision will have on our school budget. We've been very thoughtful and careful in this preparation. As our practice, we begin to discuss our hopes for the district with our mission, vision, and commitment, a commitment we reference at the start of every school committee meeting. We also focus on our 2023-2026 strategic plan. The 3 pillars included here drive the decisions that we make on a daily basis to ensure that I have said to my staff many times that we are all rowing in the same direction, so that we make good use of the funding that we have available to us. It keeps us focused on what's important, and most important, helps us to help our kids to be successful. We always look to our school committee for their guidance on what is important and what their priorities are. I suspect you may have seen this screen before because the commitments remain consistent. Maintaining appropriate class and effective class sizes, maintaining positions focused on the social and emotional health of our students, ensuring that our content areas have updated curriculum materials, that our contractual obligations are met, and that the faculty, staff, and students feel respected and supported, and that we respect the ongoing financial support that the school department has received from the townspeople of Auburn. We have maintained our staffing levels to meet the class sizes recommended by the school committee, with 25 or less at our elementary levels and appropriate levels at the middle and high school. We also maintain our staffing levels to meet the needs of our special education students. We use our October 1st enrollment numbers when creating the budget. Our school-based materials and supplies have been basically level funded from last school year. There are no new positions reflected in this budget, and you'll see an emphasis on the social and emotional well-being of kids as we move forward. We have a lot of support staff that are key to our success, so our instructional assistants and ABA techs have been noted in their current assignments, although we move them each year based on student need. We've level funded the grant monies using the FY24 amounts for the 240 grant, the Title I grant, the Title IIA grant as offsets to impact the operating budget. We've projected the Medicaid reimbursement at $140,000 as adjusted and approved at the fall town meeting. And special education circuit breaker reimbursement is anticipated conservatively at 70% for the FY25 budget. We continue to use offsets from the revolving accounts that we have, which include busing fees, building rentals, Satellite and Galaxy, our after-school and before-school programming, preschool, and athletic revolving accounts. This year for our school choice program, which is at the middle school and high school, the school committee has approved 85 openings as approved this year, which reflects an increase of 8 students from the FY24 year. We've budgeted again for 11 regular education school buses, making the assumption we'll have about the same number of students riding. We've accounted for a 5% increase in special education private school tuitions. This is typically set by the Operations Services Division of the Commonwealth of Mass. And we will continue to staff social and emotional mental health positions, which have assisted in decreasing the need for out of district placements, in turn lowering our budget. As you know, increases in fuel, contracted services, and electricity, those continue to rise. We do have plans in place for our oil pricing, as well as our electricity supply and our natural gas contract, sorry. And we continue to apply solar credits from the rooftop arrays at the middle school and high school, along with credits from the solar project in Rutland. The areas of increase in this budget are reflected primarily in building maintenance and repairs across the district at $94,000, $12,000 for water, $53,000 for fuel and electricity at Auburn High School, along with $26,000 for security, equipment repair, service contracts, and fire extinguishers district-wide. An area of cost decrease, as noted, is in our tuition to non-public schools and special education collaboratives. By being able to keep students in district at Swanson Road, Auburn Middle School, and Auburn High School, we're able to lower this area by $117,130, and it allows our students to stay in district, but be well supported. This budget may result in 2 teaching positions not being filled, as Mr. Kazanovich mentioned in his presentations, but again, we're waiting for final numbers from the state. We have received additional funding for our newly arrived students, and those will be used to offset costs. For FY25, the offset will be $267,583, which will certainly help our kids. And we are in ongoing negotiations with the AEA, which is our teachers union, and our ABAs, which has yet to be finalized. So we have done our best to estimate what that cost increase will result in. So we present to you tonight a draft budget of $31,487,276, which is an increase of $1,355,000 over the FY24 budget. This also includes projected offsets from grants, revolving accounts, solar credits, program reviews, and fees totaling $3,651,644, which equates to a 4.5% increase over the FY24 budget. And I'll end by just saying that we are so grateful to this ongoing support we receive from all of you and from the folks here in leadership in Auburn. We are very conscious of the impact that our budget has on all of you. But what we've done is created a great place for kids to learn and a great place for folks to work. So thank you for that. And I'll leave you with a quote from Nelson Mandela that says, "History will judge us by the difference we make in the lives of everyday children." So thank you. That's it for tonight.
Thank you. Okay, now if you turn to the page after Article 4, you'll see the figures. And as usual, I will read those figures. And if anybody has a question or anything on any of them, say question or whatever, I will mark it. And then after I've read all the figures, we will come back to it. So, and the figures I'm reading are on the Finance Committee. Okay, 296, 11,537, 4,076, 480, I think $80, $1,315, $356,000, and a total figure there of $853,408. Okay, go continuing. 145,000 and $145,000, 251,230, $230, 383, $231, I'm sorry, $3,083, $221, $210,893, $85,377, $57,500, $1,690,552, $31,457,276, $5,115,557, $886,401, $5,143,268, $17,500, $1,732,211, $54,355, $14,578, $1,237,848, $219,012, $2,854,120. $129, sorry, yeah. 171, yeah, 751,960. Well, 14,608 and 300, I'm sorry, the light's lousy, $362 for a final, and this is the last figure, $78,194,704. Okay, I heard nobody say anything, say stop, or say they wanted to ask any questions, so I think we're ready for the vote. Yep. Okay. Okay, we'll get the count now.
76 yes, 7 no.
It passed 76 in favor, 7 opposed. Okay, we now have to go back to the previous page, and we have to get to Article 4. Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 4, I move that the town meeting approve the 5-year capital improvement plan for the town manager, information technology, town clerk, Department of Development and Inspectional Services, police, fire, engineering, fleet maintenance unit, highway, sewer, cemetery, senior center elder affairs, library, parks, Auburn Community Television, Packagug Golf Course, and schools, as stated on pages 65 through 71 inclusive of the Town of Auburn fiscal year 2025 budget and annual town meeting warrant. And further, to approve an appropriation of $3,866,427 to fund the fiscal year 2025 capital improvement program as specified on pages 64 through 71 under the column entitled Finance Committee Recommendation, and to raise said sums by borrowing and appropriating the sum of $1,561,031 from general fund revenues, $400,000 from ambulance proceeds, $30,000 from CIP expendable trust, $314,396 from sewer enterprise retained earnings, and $40,000 from cable access enterprise retained earnings, $200,000 from stabilization. I also move that the town meeting authorize the borrowing of $1,321,000 for a period of up to 10 years for the items as identified in the 5-year capital improvement plan, and any premium received by the town upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to a payment of cost approved by this vote in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to be paid such cost by a like amount. I further move that prior to the purchase, all over-the-road vehicles shall be marked on both front door panels as property of the town of Auburn for official use only, and have a permanently affixed town seal, and that the expenditure of funds so appropriated shall be under the direction of the chief procurement officer of the town or school department.
Okay, is there a second? You got it? Okay, now this will require, because it's borrowing, when we vote on this, it will require a 2/3 vote. Are there any questions? Not seeing any? No. Okay. Well, then we can vote. Okay, so that's 2/3, yeah. The vote is 2/3, 79 for, 6 against. Would you now please turn to page 72? Article 5, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 5. I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow money from time to time in anticipation of revenue to be received during the financial year beginning July 1, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025, and to issue a note or notes that may be given for a period of less than 1 year.
Is there a second? Yes, yes, there is. Are there any questions? Seeing none, why don't we vote? Okay. It's been voted 78 yes, 7 no. Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 6, I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to submit applications for any available state or federal funds, including the Department of Elder Affairs formula grant funds, which funds the board determines to be beneficial to the town, and to authorize the expenditure of any money received as a result of said applications.
Is there a second? Yes. Okay. Are there any questions? Seeing none. Okay, we can vote. Okay, wait a minute now. 81 to 2 to 1? 81, we've been voted. 81 in favor, 2 opposed, and 1 abstention. Article 7, Ms. Goodrich.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 7, I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell at public auction or by sealed bid or at assessed value under special circumstances any properties which the town may have acquired or may hereafter acquire through tax title foreclosure proceedings, and to sign, acknowledge, and deliver in the name and under the seal of the town deeds therefor.
Is there a second? Right. Yep. Are there, excuse me, are there any questions? Yes? You?
You have to go up to my.
We got 2?
For foreclosure, and the arrears and taxes is less than the selling price, where does the surplus go?
Mr. Kazanovich?
Mr. Consilvio, so right now, but there's a move afoot at the state legislature to recognize a federal law that requires that anything in excess of what is liened or to the town go back to the homeowner. So we're expecting that to trickle down to the local municipalities. Right now, it goes to the general fund it goes into a sale of real estate account now. That gets voted on by town meeting for any particular purpose it is intended for. But we believe that in the future, there won't be any foreclosure proceeds in excess of what the amount due, because it's going to go back to the homeowner.
I know it's relatively rare for Auburn to do this, but couldn't we add it to the bylaw instead of waiting for them?
That's something we would have to take a look at if it doesn't pass the state legislature, although I can tell you, we probably haven't put anything out to foreclosure in the last 10 years.
Some towns are doing it regularly.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Okay, 76, 7 and 1. Okay. It passed, 76 in favor, 7 against, 1 abstention. Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 8, I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town treasurer to enter into compensatory balance agreements during fiscal year 2025 as permitted by Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F, or any other enabling statute. If voted, this would permit the treasurer to maintain specific sums of money and deposit in banks in return for banking services.
Is there a second? You got, oh, yes, fine. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we can vote. Okay.
Three abstentions.
79 to 3 to 3. Isn't?
That's gonna be up there. They're the ones that have the screen up there.
I don't know, there's nobody up there, is there?
Do you know who's up there? You can try. Okay, thank you.
That was 79 to 3. Wait a minute, that was 70.
79-3-3.
What I know. So anyway, the article was voted 79 to 3 to 3 abstentions. Yeah. We're waiting to see if whatever is needed to be done can be done. If we could get better lighting.
Okay, yep, all right.
That's it.
No, he wants us to move on
Okay.
while we're waiting.
Okay, Article 9.
Article 9, I move that the town meeting vote to establish or renew revolving funds for various town and school programs in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53D, and Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 71.
Is there a second? Yes, any, right? Okay. Are there any questions? Is there one?
No.
No. Seeing none, we can vote.
It's the light.
I don't know. Okay, all right, let's close it. John left up there, so we're gonna.
There's nobody up there. What's the count?
It's 81-3.
This has been voted 81 to 3. Article 10, Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 10, I move that the town meeting vote to authorize the town manager to enter into a contract or contracts with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the construction and maintenance of public highways for period commencing July 1, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025.
Is there a second? I'm sure there must be. Yes. Are there any questions? I don't. Seeing none, we may now vote. Okay. It's been voted 84, 3 against, and 1 abstention, correct? Yes. All right. 84. 80, it's not 84, but 80 votes for it. Yeah. Article 11, Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 11, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate from available funds a sum of money, if it becomes available, from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, Chapter 90 bond issue proceeds to be used for the repair and maintenance of town roads in conformance with the Massachusetts general laws.
Is there a second? Yes, there is, right? Okay. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we may vote. Yeah. Okay. It's been voted 82 for, 2 against, 2 abstentions. Article 12, Ms. Goodrich.
Article 12, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $140,000 from Medicaid receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2025 to fund supplies and medical, therapeutic, and educational services for significantly disabled special needs students, as well as tuition and transportation to and from outside placements or within the district for special needs students.
Is there a second? Yes, no, that's right. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I don't think is, no. Seeing none, we may now vote. 78 to 3. It has been voted 78 to 3. Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 13, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $26,382.15, which is the interest earned by the Auburn High School Gymnasium Health and Recreation Trust Fund to offset school department costs at the Auburn High School in support of community health and recreational activities at Auburn High School Gymnasium and related facilities and equipment.
Is there a second? Yes. Are there any questions? I don't see any. No. Okay, we may now vote. Okay. Eighty-one to 2. It has been voted 81 for, 2 against. Article 14, Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 14, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $23,481 from McKinney-Vento receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2024 to fund transportation for students to and from school who have become homeless during the fiscal year.
Is there a second? I see some. Yes, there is. Okay. Are there any questions? No. Seeing none, we may now vote. Should be over. Yeah. Okay. It has been voted 74 for it, 2 against, 1 abstention. Article 15, Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 15, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $4,715 from foster care transportation receipts within the general fund revenues to the Auburn School Department operating budget for fiscal year 2025 to fund transportation costs for students to and from school who are residing in foster care placements during the fiscal year.
Is there a second? Yes. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we may now vote. $79 for 2. It has been voted 79 for, 2 against. Article 16, Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 16, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $15,000 from overlay surplus 01-223020 for assessor revaluation costs.
Is there a second? You want it? Are there any questions? Seeing none, we may now vote.
What's that? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's been voted 72 for, 7 against, 1 abstention. Article 17. Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 17, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate the sum of $134,274.62 from free cash to an opioid settlement special revenue account, which sum was received from opioid settlement lawsuit settlements, and which will be used for educational and instructional purposes, including the purchase of supplies and any other costs related to opioid addiction and associated health services.
Is there a second? Yes. Are there any questions? Not seeing any? Therefore, we may vote. Okay? Yeah. 72 to 10. It has been voted 72 for, 10 against. Article 18. Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 18, I move that the town meeting vote to revoke the dedication of all revenues from the opioid settlement to the Special Purpose Stabilization Fund as voted at the May 2nd, 2023 annual town meeting, Article 16.
Is there a second? Is there? Yes, there is. Are there any questions? Is there a question here? Are there?
Yeah, we got one.
Okay, wherever here there's a question.
Yeah, can you come up to the mic so everybody can?
Yeah.
Norm Bergeron, Precinct 1. I'm just wondering what the two that we just went through seem almost redundant. What is the deal with that?
I will attempt to answer that. So they are related. Back when the town first received its opioid settlement funds, the Department of Revenue required that those funds be deposited into the general fund. Subsequent to that, in May of 2023, the town set up a special reserve account that allowed those proceeds to go into that account. So there's two accounting issues here. The first 134,000 went into the general fund, closed out to free cash. The only way we can get at that 134 is to vote it out and set it up into a new account that DOR just authorized municipalities to set up in December of 24. So that recently happened. So we're taking all of the proceeds that we received, we're putting them into a special revenue account, which we have to report to the state on how that is being spent. And it can only be spent on eligible requirements as specified under the opioid settlement proceeds account.
Are there any other questions? I thought I heard them, yeah. Yeah. No other questions? Therefore, we can vote. Oh, and this is a 2/3 vote. 82 to 1. It's been voted 82 to 1. Article 19, Ms. Goodrich.
Right. Article 19, I move that the town meeting vote to appropriate $30,000 from the ambulance appropriations account to cover the balance of a new ambulance.
Is there a second? Yes, there is. Are there any questions? None, right? No. Seeing none, we may now vote. Just 81, period. Okay, it's been voted by 81 people. And now we go to Article 20, I think. Yes, Article 20, Ms. Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 20, I move that the town meeting vote to amend the Auburn zoning bylaws, Section 4.1.5.3, floodplain district, as printed in the May 7, 2024 annual town meeting warrant.
Is there a second? Yes, there is. Are there any questions?
Yep.
Yes, I see somebody down here in front. Is that John Stencil? I think it is. I don't know.
Yeah, what'd you just?
Good evening, John Stencil, Precinct 5. This article and the next two articles, I would like a nice short version of why.
So this particular article, there was a typo in the floodplain bylaw that was approved at the last town meeting. This is simply to correct the typo. Somewhere along the lines, the passage was left out.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote. And it's a 2/3 vote. Okay, yeah, all right, I'll wait to give the count. And it's 2/3, okay.
3, 2.
75 for, 3 against, 2 abstentions. That is certainly 2/3, and therefore it's voted. Article 21.
Thank you, Mr.
Liz,
Moderator. Article 21, I move that the town meeting vote to amend the Town of Auburn zoning bylaws, Section 6 parking standards, as printed in the May 7, 2024 annual town meeting warrant.
Is there a second? Yes, there is. Are there any questions? Okay, I have one somewhere over there on the left. The dark.
Ellen Ethia, Precinct 5. I'd like to know where the change is happening. It's going from 2 parking spaces to 1.5. Is this private residence? Is this condos? Is this apartments? What?
This is for all dwellings.
All dwellings. So are we now telling people what kind of vehicles they have to drive so they can fit in 1.5 spaces?
Well,
Or,
you'd be rounding up. So for example, if there was a duplex, you'd be required to have 3 parking spaces. If there are 3 apartments, it would add up to 4.5, but you'd have to have 5 spaces. So it's a rounding up. This is proposed to comply with the MBTA community guidelines set down by the states. This is why this change is originally proposed, is because without state law.
so most households have 2 people driving 2 cars. So if they're in one of these situations, somebody's not having a parking space. Doesn't make sense to me.
It's not a requirement. They have 1.5. That's just the minimum. They can have much more if they would like.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we can vote. And again, this is a 2/3 vote because of the zoning bylaw. Huh?
It's a majority vote.
Wait a minute. I had it down as 2/3.
No.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking, okay, majority. Yeah, I'm sorry, right. It's a majority. Sorry about that.
Yep, we're going to, for based on consent.
What are you gonna do? Turn it on again?
Yeah, you made a motion to retake the vote. Huh?
So you have to take it off and then put it on again?
Yeah, please.
There's a motion and a second to reset the vote, so we'll have to vote on that now before we vote again.
We need to take a vote because there was a motion.
Okay, this is a motion to retake the vote. There was a second on it. We now have to vote on that particular motion of retaking the vote. So I guess we're gonna put it on the board. Oh, the thing is frozen. Well, we could go back to what we used to do if we had to. Oh, shit. I can't hear him.
Can you, if he can't hear you, can you come up? Sorry.
He moved the question.
So
And
we're
we have a
talking now
second.
about the vote on Article 21, right? Just to re-vote it since it's screwed up. Right. So in other words, you're moving that the vote be done by unanimous acclamation, which is perfectly legal to do. For the revote. So we have to now ask, do we have unanimous acclamation for the revote?
Aye.
All right, okay. So that means now we have voted Article 20?
To revote
We have to
I mean-
revote Article 21.
We're going to revote it. Oh, it's working.
You ready?
Yep. Good. Here we go. This is what happens with electric things, I guess. I'm guessing it'll be voted, but I don't know. It's a majority. Yeah. Okay, it has been voted 65 for, 29 against. Am I 55? Oh, I'm sorry, 55 for, 29 against. And it was just a majority vote. It didn't need 2/3. It would have had it anyway. We are now going to go to Article 22. Ms.
Thank you, Mr.
Goodrich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 22, I move that the town meeting vote to amend the Town of Auburn zoning bylaws, Section 9 Administration, Section 9.3 Special Permits, as printed in May 7, 2024 Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Is there a second? Yes, there is.
Mr. Moderator, we have Mr. Murray who'd like to be recognized with an amendment to this.
Yes, okay. Mr. Murray. You have your amendment written out, sir?
Yes.
So that you will then give to the town clerk after you've read it.
I move to amend Article 22 as follows, Section 9.3.12.3F, strike nor have more than one bedroom. I further move to amend Section 9.3.12.5, A, B, and C to strike in their entirety and should now read, the recorded declaration of covenants shall survive the transfer of ownership of a dwelling with an accessory apartment. I further amend Section 9.3.12.6 by striking that in its entirety.
Okay. And that requires a second. There is a second. Thank you. Would you now give it, Jeff, would you please give it to the town? Oh yeah, why not? Oh. Okay. Are there
Mr.
any questions?
Moderator, if we could have Mr. Murray just briefly explain what he just did so that
Yeah, are there
people
questions
understand.
or comments? Or, yeah.
So essentially, the zoning amendment, as it stands, would have the applicant go back on transfer of the property back to the zoning board for another approval after they've made accommodations with a kitchen, sanitary facilities, possibly in addition. The zoning enforcement official or the building inspector would oversee this or approve of any of those things. And with the covenant in place on the deed, that would be a glaring thing that would be seen on a transfer. And again, that would be enforceable by the building official. So it seems senseless to have put the burden of having somebody go back to the zoning board a second time after this action's already been taken.
Okay, just stay there in case people have it. Are there any questions to Mr. Murray's amendment? Yes, I think I see a hand. Yeah, in the middle.
Barry Bowling, Precinct 4. Was this run by the bylaw review committee or the planner, town planner?
I can't hear him.
Was this reviewed by zoning council? His amendment, was it reviewed?
Yes. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
By the way,
No. I don't agree with those changes, just what was originally presented.
Are there any other questions or comments? I don't see any. Mike, okay. Therefore, we can vote on, yeah, we have to first, we will vote on the amendment and then we will vote on the article, right? So we are now going to vote on the amendment. And the amendment will be only a majority vote. The full article is a 2/3 vote. But I think the amendment will be only a majority vote. So please vote. I'm going to write amendment in here.
Yes.
4739-1. Okay, so the amendment, 47 yes, 39 no, 1 abstention. So the amendment now carries. We now have an amended article here. And so now we have to vote the article itself. Yeah, so we have to vote the article. And the article itself is a 2/3 vote. So are there any further questions are there any further questions on the article itself? Well, the amendment is now part of the article. So we're really talking an amended article, which is what we're voting. Yes. If there are no questions, yes. But it's a 2/3 vote. Okay. And it is a 2/3 vote now that we're doing the entire article. Okay. So there's going to have to be 2/3. Okay.
54.
Wait a minute, let me do this now. 54 to what? 32. To 32? Okay, the vote on the amended article was 54 in favor, 32 against. That is not a 2/3 vote, so therefore the entire Article 22 has failed. Did somebody raise a hand? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose if somebody wanted to make a motion at this point to vote the original unamended article and it got a second, then we'd have to vote it. You want to adjourn? Instead of the motion? Well, dissolve, I was going to say, so we have instead a motion to dissolve? Okay, all those in favor of dissolving?
Mr. Moderator, we had a gentleman who made a motion to amend before the motion was to dissolve.
I'm not hearing you, Doreen.
Somebody made a motion to amend before somebody made a motion to dissolve.
Oh, I'm sorry, somebody
He
else
was
made a...
making his way up to sign the amended motion.
So who made a motion to amend before we was it Jeff? Again?
I move to,
Okay, so what I'm hearing is there's a motion from somebody to vote on the original unamended article. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
Is there a second? There is a second. Is there any discussion? They're seeing, yes, I'm sorry, yeah. Somebody coming down to speak?
Tim LaBelle, Precinct 2. In chatting with the Government Affairs Coordinator with the Realtor Association of Central Mass this week, it became apparent to me that one of the things that was mentioned in the previous amendment was important, and that is striking one bedroom and at least adding it so that the limit is set at 2 instead of 1. That's important. If you think about it, if we're allowing 1,000 square foot additions, that's really a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. Limiting it to 1 bedroom just doesn't make sense. So therefore, I move to revise Article 22, Section 9.3.12.3, subsection F, to strike 1 bedroom and insert 2 bedrooms.
Do you want to have that handed to the town clerk, please? And maybe I better move, I think I better read it, huh? Yeah. Yes. Which was to do this, right?
We have a motion on the floor
Yes.
to vote on the original article before amended. And then this gentleman tried to amend, voting on the original article not amended.
Yes, that's what I thought
Which
we
has
were.
not been seconded.
That's what I thought we were now voting on, the original article. And this is a second. Okay, question.
More of a statement. All right, very well, precinct 4. I would prefer that we don't try to litigate this in this meeting. If there are problems with the warrant having been published, where we all have a chance to read it and understand what's going on, then let's let it fail. Let's send it back to the zoning bylaw committee. Let's have them adopt whatever 2 bedrooms, no 1 bedroom, whatever the things are. Let's have public input to that. Let's bring that revised bylaw back to town meeting with a chance to read it before the meeting and vote. That is my suggestion. We can sit here and amend the heck out of it if we want, but I really don't want to hear about it.
All right, are there any other comments or up there? Yes?
So I get what you're saying, but I think it's a very important article, especially with housing the way it is and such. I kind of think if we pass it for now and we amend it in the future, just to move it along instead of waiting and delaying it would be better. But we've already had the motion,
On his thing?
so.
Was there a second on his? Yes, to do it? Okay. Okay, so as I see it now, what we're going to be doing is voting on the original unamended article as you got in your warrant when you received it. Are there any other comments or questions on that? Okay, well, let me get this straight now. What?
What he's saying
Okay.
is we vote on the,
Amended?
vote on the original movement for the article, then vote on the amended motion. The second amended motion.
What's the second? Oh, is this, wait a minute, excuse me.
That's the motion that was made before we seconded the first.
Okay, so what are we gonna do first? Vote? We're gonna vote what?
Vote on Article 22.
We're gonna vote now, therefore, on Article 22, which requires a 2/3 vote. Yes, I understand it, not as amended, so
That's what the first, the motion was just made first before we had the amended motion. Okay, all right, ready?
ready? Okay. So we're voting on the original article. And that's what this guy is really asking for? No. But we're not going. Okay. And if we pass the original article, then we don't do it anymore. Okay, that's a strange, yeah, this has got strange. I don't like it, but anyway. Well, if it doesn't get a 2/3. It requires a 2/3 vote. So let's wait and see what we get. Okay. So vote on original unamended article, right? 35. 4.
40.
That's what I thought, so 35 in favor, 40 against. Okay, 35 to 40. So, the unamended article did not pass. It got 35 votes. There were 40 votes against it. So, basically, we've done what we had to do on the article. Huh? Ooh, I'm sorry. Does anybody have anything else on this?
Tim LaBelle, are we moving forward on your motion? Yeah, right,
It failed. So now what we need is a motion to dissolve. Move. Go home, get your snow shovels out or something. Jesus, that was wild, huh?